And with that, I have finished the scenario. So during that fight, shortly after I finished recording the first segment, I ended up starting to take a little too many hits. One of my battleships actually now has heavy damage, and a big part of that was that the British decided to start pulling away, and during that they were able to get some good shots in, and my ships just weren't able to really land very much damage, so eventually I just allowed them to break off, and it looks like another one of their battleships actually sunk. I didn't see this one sink. I think what happened was as night came and I lost visual contact, one of their ships must have just had too much damage that it sunk at sea. They all ended up moving over here onto the side. But in general, as an actual result from this, I lost a cruiser and a destroyer. He lost 2 battleships, 2 destroyers, and his 7 out of 8 transport ships. Remember, he was trying to deliver these to invade Rhodes Island, and as a result of that, because I did a lot of damage, I actually got significant more points based on damage, and my ship score, he lost his objective ships and I sunk his objective ships, so I got the according to this, I don't know why I got surviving merchants. I don't think I had any merchants, unless there actually were sometimes you'll see merchant ships sailing around just normally, so I guess that's what they counted for that. I did pick up some survivors. He picked up some survivors, and he had 1 surviving merchant ship for 600 points, but he lost 4 of his, so he lost a bunch there. And ship loss difference, because I did not lose very much in relation to him. That's what this ship score is the difference between our casualties. He lost his 2 battleships. That's a big loss for him. So overall, he had a points of 31,000 to my 79,000. And you can actually go into like ship details, and you can see a whole bunch of stuff here. So yeah, you can see he had, I think that is heavy hits, hit percentage, so I could actually like look at who had the highest hit percentages. And for battleships, it looks like my Dante here had the highest hit ratio or hit percentage chance, though Great Britain Battleship Division 5, the Jupiter, he actually got sunk. The Jupiter got sunk. I don't know which one he was, though, but yeah, you can see here he suffered like 40 heavy hits. Yeah, he was the guy who got torpedoed, so I can actually sort by torpedoes. So my light cruiser who got torpedoed, and his big ship there, because the ship got dead in the water, he just took a bunch of damage and then he eventually sunk. But yeah, you can also search by like hits scored, so like a lot of the cruisers, I actually had a lot of the total hits scored here. But yeah, a bunch of my ships are in light damage as well. But yeah, which was my second highest? Yeah, so all my battleships did pretty good. My main one, though, he's heavy damage. This was the flagship, I believe, for the whole division. He suffered 17, 20, and 3 for heavy, medium, and light damage. Only had 26% of his ammo left. And what's this one say? Damage points. I think this just means like how much score he gained from doing damage, or that he received. But yeah, I think this is just for the received stuff right there. It'll give you some stats just so you can kind of see how well they did individually. Yeah, like this poor guy here, no heavy damage, but I think that's just because he got torpedoed and then just sat there dead in the water. And in general, that's what I can look at there for the different nations for points. So I scored more heavy points and way more medium points to him. So once you close that, then what you do is you hit the end game button, and what'll happen is it will bring me out of the scenario back to the map. So we have won a major victory, gained 2 prestige. Our VP was almost 5,000. He only gained 2,000 VP. So we averted his invasion. We can call the battle. The Battle of Rhodes is the automated name. We'll go with that. I got some submarines. Ooh, got some bonus for fire control. Some bonus for turrets. Oh, 5-inch guns are now quality 0 instead of -1. Malta, I'm trying to invade Malta, but unfavorable weather. Enemy fleet dominates the sea. Oh yeah, that's my colony. Yeah, of course he does that. And then I've got, it's because I actually had a bunch of submarines commissioned just as this war started. They were built. And so I'm starting to rack up, because I have 24 submarines out there right now, so they've sunk 2 merchant ships so far. And I've gained 10 VP from that. Austria-Hungary gained us 210 VPs. And then it gives us like a whole bunch of stuff. Britain gained a bunch of budget. They've laid down a bunch of KEs, or frigates. And yeah, you can see like some other stuff here. They've been commissioning frigates. USA, you can see some of the information that our intelligence has gained. They've refit one of their battleships for central firing. And so here I've got like lists. I'll go to the map first, and let's see, come on. So yeah, we were fighting over here. I have set this place as the invasion target, so Malta is my invasion target. But if I hover my mouse over here, it'll say that I have 3 battleships that can be used in fights. I'm pretty sure it's because some of them are just damaged too much. Britain has 5. Austria-Hungary has 9, and he's my ally in this war here. So that should mean that with the damages Britain has taken, they have lost the ability to blockade us. So we are able to mount invasions if possible. So like I said, I'm going to try to see if I can get Malta. My ships here, AF basically means active, and I think the 1 here means that they're going to get repaired. That's my guess. He's got a star on him. I haven't seen that star yet. Must be something for what they did in their fight. I've got some more submarines being built there. Ship sunk. Yeah, these are my 2 ships sunk. And I am working on getting 2 more battleships built, but they won't be done for another 23 months. They might end up being obsolete. I was really hesitating on building these, but I just took a look at how much I was behind on battleships. So it was probably a good idea I did that. Oh yeah, I should enable captain's mode before I forget that. But yeah, down here in Etruria, I only have like 8 points of fleet power to Britain's 165. So I'm definitely blockaded down there. But at least for this turn, Britain might be able to. He's got 1 battleship there. He's got 11 battleships over here, so he might be able to reinforce this position with more battleships. But yeah, because most of his in there are light damage. So hopefully the Austro-Hungarians can help out a little bit in here and maybe keep the British off of me so that I can possibly mount an invasion there. We'll see how that goes. But I've got my submarines on prize rules. I could get them to do unrestricted submarine warfare, where they attack more ships, but they might sink other people's ships, which would piss them off. I can expand my dock size. This number down here represents the tonnage that you can build up to. I've got my budget. It's actually cut off. There we go. My funds. So I have 66 million in reserve, and then I'm making an extra surplus of 1 million. If your funds gets too high to your yearly budget, they will actually cut your budget down. Big part of this game is that your politicians will try to cut down your funding. Since we're at war, they're not too keen on cutting down our funding. We actually ended up in war with Britain because of Austria, though I was already escalating tensions with Britain anyway. So it was like, yeah, sure, let's go tag team. But so far, I've been the one doing most of the work here. But we're now ahead. Before the British were slightly ahead in this war, so now we are in the lead. And you can see if I click this button here, I've got invasion ranges. So it doesn't look like I can target Cyprus, which is weird because they were targeting me from there. I don't know, this was strange, but for sure I've got Malta within my range to invade, which is what I'm currently planning to do. Some of the other things you can do in here is you can set your research priorities, things like naval guns to get more research into developing bigger calibers or improving the quality. I've got submarines on high so that I can do more submarine warfare shenanigans. Ship design I've got on high. With Italy, I have a faction advantage for researching ship designs, so that's also another reason why I want that on high. And yeah, I've got machinery on low because machinery eventually develops into diesel powered ships, and I don't have oil yet. So there's really no point, I feel, in power teching machinery because it might take a long time for me to get oil. Hopefully, like my Libya colony or something gets oil in it, because the British in their place here, I think they have oil in one of their territories around here, but for sure they do have oil. The Austria-Hungarians have oil. But before I end it, I will go into things like ship design here. So you have ship design window. You can select different ship sizes, though I don't have the tech to actually make stuff like this. So like if I say, oh, an aircraft carrier, I don't actually have the tech to make aircraft carriers, but I can get it to generate a design so that one could actually look like that. I could go over to like light cruiser, say, hey, auto design one, and it'll create a ship design. You can also do some customized ones as well, where you can use these buttons in this bottom area to set up where your different parts are. So like with this one, it's put its turrets in these kinds of positions around here at 4 calibers. I could very well look at this and say, I want, bigger guns, like 7-inch guns. But then it says, oh, this has to be a heavy cruiser if you want those. And this one, it's overweight. And so then I could like increase the tonnage of it, or the displacement of it, so that I could use like 6-inch caliber guns. Yeah, my 7-inch caliber guns are quality 0, while the 6 inches are -1. Yeah, you can do some pretty neat things in that regard. So I actually can't make, if I try to generate one, it'll just bring it down to a pre-dreadnought because I don't quite have the tech yet to make a dreadnought battleship. I think the British have the tech to start making actual dreadnoughts, but I know when it comes to year 1905, I think that's when the tech becomes available for it. But you can see it's designed a superstructure here that's a bit different from the ship that I currently have. It's generated with like 11 caliber guns. I could go up to 13 or 12 for 0. The 12-inch is about similar in performance just because these 13s are -1. So you could like pull up the stats there because yeah, caliber is 13 -1. So if you look at that and you say, oh hey, at let's say 8,000 range, it is 8.1, and then you go down here. So it's slightly better, but not by much. So quality has a big importance. So depending on your luck and what kind of quality rolls you get, that would be the sort of area you would weigh the kind of caliber you would run. And other things that you could look into is like how much displacement, how much speed you want your ship. Range determines like the weight of the ship, how much fuel you carry. So with coal weighs a lot, and so you don't really want to go for longer range ships when they're coal powered. Since I'm fighting around the Mediterranean, it might be a good idea to just run short range stuff if you wanted to have like a Mediterranean fleet that you don't expect to sail around, but during a fight you do use up fuel, so you might run out of fuel during a fight. I don't know, haven't done a whole lot of long fights, but eventually you can like switch to oil and diesel, and then that reduces your weight, but it does increase the cost. And the coal storages, the coal beds, they actually provide a sort of armor protection because the coal doesn't like explode volatilely when hit, so it actually provides armor. One of my battleship that took heavy damage actually took a hit. That was a really nasty one, but a lot of the damage was reduced because it hit the coal storage first, and that took out a lot of the potential damage by the looks of it. So coal ships are fairly tanky, but they're smoky, they're easy to spot, and they're heavier for the range that you have. Yeah, you can adjust like how much belt armor, how much deck armor, how much it's extended. If you have armor on the conning tower, which you don't usually need because a lot of the vital stuff isn't usually in the superstructure. Generally, you want to armor your belt and your turrets, because if your turrets get knocked out, then you're not shooting at stuff. Eventually, you can like change things like your deck, accommodations. You can eventually research torpedo defense. I don't have torpedo protection researched. You can give colonial surface to it. Not sure exactly what the stats are. It does increase the cost in general. I think that's just like increases its range or something like that so that it can operate in colonies. And yeah, additional armament, you can do things like add torpedoes. So you have like the sub torpedoes. That means that the torpedo launcher is underwater, and it can actually reload the torpedoes in that case. Whereas if you were to, let's say, get a port and starport swivel mount, right? You see there, it pops them up. Those ones have a wider arc of fire. Show turret arcs. No, that doesn't show up for those. But yeah, that would. Wonder. Above water tubes not researched for heavy ships. Yeah, thought so. It's a tech you'd need for those. But yeah, you could definitely eventually get these kind of techs so that if you wanted like swivel mounts inside your ship, but I don't think that this ship would be able to get that. But you could eventually do things like develop cruisers, and then you could eventually work on getting your torpedoes mounted on there. I don't have yeah, this one I don't have the tech to mount torpedoes on ships that have like the weight. They have to be under 2,500. So if I wanted to, I could make this a smaller ship, and I could like do something like take out a bunch of the guns, so we could like clear all the turrets, and then I think I have to at least add one. So let's put. That was in a weird spot, wasn't it? Yeah, port forward. Port forward. Starboard forward. What would that be? Yeah, above water tubes not yet researched for light cruisers. So. So right now the only things that can have like these above water torpedoes, these ones are currently a one shot per fight. Eventually you can get tech that lets them have a reload, but for now most of your torpedoes are going to come from destroyers early on. So this one generated one with 2 torpedoes on it. The one that I currently have, this guy here, if I open his design, I have 3 torpedoes on swivel mounts on him, and he is at the 600 displacement, which is the smallest number, I think, in order for you to be able to bring them into a fight, I read, which is why I just put him at a 600 there. So the idea for this guy is he only has like 2 caliber guns, 2-inch caliber, so his main thing is that he's got 3 torpedoes on him, and that's really about it. Unfortunately, they didn't do much because I couldn't get them to fire torpedoes automatically. They didn't want to, except that one time when they hit the battleship, and that battleship eventually sunk. So now that I got captain's mode on, I should be able to take advantage of these guys, and they should be able to just torpedo the crap out of the British should they try to fight me again. I'm not too sure what they will do next turn, but I guess we'll find out. Take care.